Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Elixir Foundation series. So in this episode right here, we're going to be completing our code over here, our plug. Right now it's kind of like in the middle. It's not exactly done yet. So what I mentioned in the previous episode that we need to actually return a connection. So the con object needs to be returned from this call here for it to work correctly, because what happens is the connection object gets passed through the entire pipeline, and then what we can do is we can access the connection for things that we store in there. So right now what happens is it's going to use that information to detect what kind of user we have, and then we need to store this data, this atom in here inside of the connections. How do we do that? Well, we can use assign functions, and then we need to pass it in the con. And then here I'm going to call it type. And then here, I'm going to pass in the value over here. So now we have a valid return type. So basically this assign is going to return a connection. So another thing is we cannot use false over here. We need to use anything. So basically if with the with statement, if it's anything that's not following the output, so basically here it's going to check, okay, we get the UA, we do the pattern matching, we get the UA out. And if it's not true, if anything that is not true according to this with statement, then it's going to go to else. And in the else, we need to just say, okay, whatever the return value up here is, pass it into this procedure, this function over here. So we need to detect with the connection if it's a bot or a user. So first we're going to detect, hey, is this from Headless Chrome? And if it's not, then we need to check if the request is coming from a bot or from a user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this function out into its own separate function call. So here I'm going to do def p, a private function, so bot or user, and then it's going to pass in the con. And then here I'm going to move this over here. So this looks a little bit more easier to digest in my opinion. So I'm going to do assign con type and then bot. And basically here, I'm going to do assign con type user. So basically what happens next is this function is going to return us, so like bot or user con. So this call is basically going to return a plug connection. So right over here, you can see the return value. So don't worry too much about what I just did there. That's what's called a type spec, and I'll cover that later down the line. But essentially what it's going to do is it's going to detect and do the whatever it is we want it to do. So based on the request header, it's going to detect what kind of user we have, and then it's going to store that type of user inside of the connection, which then gets passed on further down the request. And then later on, we can get this information and do certain things with it. So that's all we need to understand right now in this episode. So right now, this will work. So if I go into Botiful and I do an IEX.pry, so now I can remove IEX.pry from here. And basically, I can call IEX.pry inside of here. So if I do require, and then I do a IEX.pry. What we can do is actually we can then now detect the connection, the type of user who's accessing our server. So I'm going to show you guys how that actually happens. So I'm going to do IEX -s and then mix. So now once we're on the server, I'm going to hit the server once more, and we're going to pause over here, and I'm going to show you guys what's going on. So in con, let's find that thing that we just modified, that we added. Let's see, it's somewhere over here. Assigns type user. So there we go. So that information right there came from the plug, the agent plug that we just wrote. And basically what this does is it detects what kind of agent who is accessing our server. And later on, we can use this information over here to kind of like route our app over here into doing different things, like whether it's serving the static file or whether it's pre-rendering or whether it's serving it from cache or whatever. We can use this information to detect what we need to do, as a logic of what we need to do next. So that's going to be it for this episode. That completes our agent plug. And right now everything's working correctly as we expect. So in the next episodes, I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about how we actually gonna go about writing the actual render engine. So yeah, that's the meat of it. Like that's actually the fun part. So yeah, this is a members exclusive episode. With that, I want to thank you guys for becoming a member. And if there's any thing I can help you with, we have a chat. You can send us a chat, ask a question, and we have some new features coming on our site, which is possible because of your support. With that, I want to wrap up this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one.